So Chief Denier for the Five Banger said, I streamed 7 hours on a single PC of Monster Hunter Wilds, and it runs flawless on a 5-year-old rig. Quite a bit of cutscenes, but it's fun. A lot easier than Worlds, though. So I streamed last night for about 2 hours, maybe a little bit under that, and had a great time. Inkling says Hunter Monster. Did I say Hunter Monster? I meant Monster Hunter if I did. But anyways, I streamed it for about 2 hours last night. 1.6 hours. Look at Kira keeping tabs on me, making sure I stay accurate with what I say. And I had a great time with it. I genuinely did. Like, I really enjoyed my time, had a great time playing the game and chatting with people while we're going through it. So a quick overview of my experience with the game so far before I get into the quote unquote potential issues with it that people are having. My overview of what I liked, what I didn't like, my quick thoughts of it is it's Monster Hunter. Like, it's exactly what I remember when I played the one on the 3DS 8+ years ago. I had a great time with it back then, played the hell out of it. Probably had over 30 hours in that game on it, maybe even more. And I loved it. And I got to the point of playing it so much that I was just like, okay, I'm kind of good with the whole gameplay loop of Monster Hunter. So I wasn't like in a rush to play Monster Hunter Wilds because I played that one so much. And then Kira gifted it to the channel. And I was like, well, hell, it just launched. I got it gifted to me. And I really want to start playing games on stream. So I was really motivated to be like, okay, I'll give it a shot, even though I know exactly what I'm getting into. And I played it. And it was exactly what I remembered. Like, it was like very nostalgic. It was all coming back to me. And it was really, really fun. I personally had no issues, no gameplay hiccups, no screen tearing, no glitches, errors, bugs, crashes, nothing. It worked flawlessly. Like, everything was perfectly fine. And I enjoyed my time with it the entire time. And that was my experience. So I came away from it being like, yeah, I would recommend this game to people. If you like Monster Hunter, I would highly recommend this game. If you've never played Monster Hunter, I would highly recommend this game. If you've played Monster Hunter and you didn't like it, do not buy this game. But for everyone else, yeah, I think it's a great game that I enjoyed. Now, with that being said, there were some issues that I had. I didn't like the fact in the creator character there was no boob slider or butt slider. I was like, that's kind of weird. That kind of frustrated me because I feel like the creator character itself was fairly advanced with a ton of options, like almost too many options, but no boob slider. I'm like, how do we have like an infinite amount of options, but we can't make the rack bigger? Like, that's weird, especially for a game where there are characters that literally have like a huge rack in game as NPCs and stuff. It's like, well, why do they get to have big tits and I can't make my character have big tits? You know, like, that's not fair. That's weird. Chaotic Holy says no boob slider. Pass. Pronabout says new smashism. I'm just saying. I'm nitpicking, but it's not really nitpicking because it's like, I mean, I wouldn't have made them like Saints Row boobs, but I would have made them like a little bit bigger. Like, just like, you're going to be playing this game for a while. You might as well have a hot chick with boobs bouncing around, especially with the jiggle physics, because they do have jiggle physics and it's glorious. It looks great. It's amazing. But as far as the game itself, it's perfectly fine. I didn't have any issues with it. Now, with that being said, there have been a tremendous amount of reported problems with this game from a lot of people. So I'd be remiss to be like, oh yeah, it's fine, everyone. I got no issues, no problems. Take what I say as my experience, but your mileage may vary with your computer. Hypnotic, I was watching him stream on his live stream playing the game today, and he encountered a bug where one of the NPCs would not chat with them. What's her name? I can't remember. I'm tit picking. Exactly, Will. Good call. What's the name of that girl with the rack that makes your weapons and your armor? What's her name? So he was trying to talk to her, and Gemma, thank you. Yeah. So he's trying to talk to Gemma, and it wouldn't give him the the option to talk to her. And I'm watching him and I'm like, oh, he probably already talked to her. And he's like, no, I haven't talked to her already. I was like, oh, that's weird. Maybe you need to go talk to a different NPC first. He's like, no, the game is directing me to talk to her right now. And I'm like, oh, that's weird, because when I played it, it just worked so flawlessly that I didn't even like remember the order of operations of how it worked, because I just did it and it worked. So he restarted his game and came back into it after saving, loading, and bringing it back up. And then lo and behold, he could talk to her. And I'm like, okay. So I witnessed that in real time. It wasn't like, not like he would lie anyway, but it wasn't like a fake or anything. Like, it was a straight up bug that he encountered that I did not. So I've seen it happen for other people. And that being the case, I know that's verified that there are definitely bugs in this game that could make the experience worse. There's nothing I hate more than playing a game and getting to a point where you run into a glitch and you don't know you ran into a glitch because the game doesn't tell you that there's a glitch, and you can't interact with who you're supposed to interact with. So you just kind of like walking around for 10, 20 minutes, like, well, what am I supposed to do here? And that's super, super frustrating. As far as Hypnotic, I think he said he was running a, what's he say? 40, was it 4090? Is that even a thing? I think Hypno was running a 4090. I'm on a 4060, I think. Yeah, I think I'm a 4060. And so mine is not even as high powered as his. Wow, that sounds weird. Pause. But that being the case, like, I didn't have any issues or anything. It was perfectly fine for me. Like I said, no screen tearing, no graphic problems. It looked great. Everything rendered great. Gameplay was smooth. Had no problems at all with anything. But Hypno did, with a superior graphics card. So take that for what you will. He also had another issue, I think he said, with the game, and his experience was overall very soured from that. And I heard him tell people that he would recommend waiting, which is fair. If you have a shit experience, that's what you're going to tell people. For me, I had a great experience. I enjoyed the game. I didn't have any problems with it. So I'm ready to be like, yeah, no, go get it, guys. It's awesome. But just make sure you understand that you might run into issues with it and take it for what it's worth. Synonic says Hypno drivers suck. Potentially. I don't know. I can't speak for that. But yeah, that was my experience with Monster Hunter Wilds. It was a great game, and shout out again to Kira for that. As far as the Steam charts is concerned, let me bring this up. The current player count is over 1 million players, but surprisingly lower than last night by a decent amount. That's surprising. I wonder if there was a lot of returns, like a lot, like 100 plus or 200 plus thousand returns potentially. Because as far as the reviews are concerned with this game, it's getting review bombed pretty bad. People are saying it was like 50-50 mixed reviews right now. I'll bring it up here. Right now, mixed with around 25,000 reviews, which, take this with, as Will the fan says, a pinch of salt, because it's what, not even 24 hours removed from launch, and there's already 25,000 reviews almost on it. And if you have a poor experience, or your graphics card isn't up to date, your drivers aren't up to date, because I had to update my NVIDIA driver before I downloaded the game, so I didn't have any issues. There may be a good amount of people out there that didn't do that or didn't know they had to do that, or they might just have an old graphics card that just can't run it and it runs into issues. but that's what you get with PC. Prater Mine says, my Steam Deck runs it, brah. Well, earlier in the stream, someone said the Steam Deck was not running it. They had to like do Windows mode and it was super choppy and stuff. Robert Lawrence said, Smash, I thought you said you had a 4070. No, I don't have a 4070. It was a 4060, if I recall correctly. I need to check it again. But either way, we got very immersive game. You can cook a well-done steak on your GPU while you play. And the hot blast from the air, the PC fans truly make you feel like you're in a desert. Keep a bag of sand in your desk and periodically toss handfuls of it into the air to really complete the experience. That is something I didn't notice it on my computer last night. It wasn't like going into overdrive or anything like that and completely overclocking or anything. It was quiet and fine. And I played for almost 2 hours and with no issues. And I've heard a lot of people say the opposite, that their fans were cooking. That was just grinding the whole time while they're playing. Like it was really cooking their computers and stuff. I didn't run into that. We got this one. Advertised as a multiplayer, every possible roadblock built to prevent you from playing with friends. Don't be fooled. This is a single player game. They do not want you playing with your friends. There is 4 layers to it. If you miss a layer or you want to do the story with friends, go buy something else. That doesn't bother me. I don't necessarily like play a Monster Hunter game to make sure I play it with friends. But oh, by the way, that was the same thing with the 3DS version. You had to play the game for a solid like 2 or 2.5 to 3 hours before it allowed you to connect to the Nintendo Wi-Fi to play with other people, because it didn't want like people that had no idea what the fuck they were doing in the game with them. So it would take you a while to accommodate to get into it. So this sounds like somebody, 5.1 hours. It sounds like somebody that played it for like 4 hours, finally got to a point where they get to multiplayer and they're already pissed off because they played a bunch of the storyline. So Robert Lawrence says, I would rather it be a single player with no other players joining in. See, that's the thing for me too. I'm like, I'm not opposed to that either. Happy Eagle says, Hammerbonk, good game. Sleeper Cell says, game won't stop crashing. So again, it's your move. Your mileage may vary. There are a lot of people reporting terrible optimization. I've heard that quite a bit. But again, horribly unoptimized, unintuitive menu system, 3 different friends lists. Playing with friends is a pain in the ass. Unless you start a mission, get a monster, and wait for the party lead. See, I didn't get that far with it, so I can't talk about the party system with it. Game is a solid 10 frames per second on Steam Deck. Damn. If you close your eyes, it looks nice. Steam Deck terrified. I like that. But yeah, you need a good graphics card and a fairly good computer, or play it on console. I haven't heard anyone having any issues with console, but as long as your computer is somewhat up to date within the past year or 2, maybe even 3 or 4 years, you should be fine, depending on your graphics card. Ghost 101 says, a good CPU. Well, yeah, that doesn't hurt either. Will the Fan says, you need a PS5 equivalent. Exactly. But yeah, as far as my experience with it, which is really all I can speak to personally, is I love the game and I can't wait to play it again, potentially even later tonight. But as far as my experience after watching Hypnotic, I could see why people have some hesitations, because again, it seems like it's different for different people. But overall, I loved it. It's awesome. So we'll leave that one there.